Hello and welcome. It is the 27th day of May 2019. My name is Derek and welcome to the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. A break of this resistance yesterday at 83 and change, making it close to 9,000, and therefore, as I'm reporting now, not much to really go over. It has been successfully thus far correcting within this 18 average amongst the single hour term time frame. A moderate at best, if not even worse than a moderate attempt thus far in attempting to have a break above this highs. But in saying that, yeah, it's a moderate attempt at trying to break, but it ain't failing right now. It is above the band, barely getting above here and within this hour and just holding in there. But really, that's what the market has been doing since it came up to this high at 1600 hours yesterday to a little below where it is now. It's just chopped up and been in the sideways range, thus holding a very small retracement from this low to this high. Question is, what level of Fibonacci do you use? And I think you have no choice but to use. And I don't. It's none of these lows. The big lows, of course. But for short-term moves, either the lows in here, which is the 7,881, or these breakout lows at about 79. But either way, Fibonacci somewhere around 82 is like a deep pullback. 80, yeah, and then an okay pullback is like around 85 and a bit below, and it hasn't even gotten there. So far, the pullback is in at 86. Lots to go over. I'm done with Bitcoin for this video. Let's switch it over to Litecoin against the dollar, which has been grinding and showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs since this level high. So grinding, you see how it just makes this move up that way, small decline, just grinding its way up and efficiently so far holding and doing very well within this market. On the daily term time frame, price action has managed to get over this layer of resistance between about 94 high change up to about 106, but originally up to about 97, 98. And to me, it looks like it's en route to a break above the 126.5 level as its next level of resistance. I want to talk a little bit about other people in YouTube. I'm not going to be giving up any names, but maybe it will be, it's obvious. A major Litecoin hodler decided to sell at 25. Let's do some math, and you're going to see that nothing's changed. Possibly, of course. I don't know. But as far as just hodling and moving, as I'm going to be talking about. So 25 happened right around here. So we're looking at possibly it could have been at this high in here. But I'm going to suppose it was between December the 7th to December 10th when one would sell for 25. Current price action is in at about 113. So it's about a little over 4.5 times higher since that point. However, the user stated putting it into Bitcoin Cash. If we look at BCH from December 7th through that of the 10th, a price currently in at 436 and having a breakout attempt and a third X try resistance test at about the 450 level. But from December 7th to 10, we would have been looking at prices in this little range in here. So about a little over, about $100. So in this, it's about pretty much close to the same, about 4.5 times move. Now, I don't know if the Bitcoin Cash fork had started at this point to the SV. I think that might have been free coins and even better profit on top of that. I don't even know how that works. I didn't own any BCH at the time of the fork. But if you move one coin from another, sometimes you could say someone made a bad play. Technically, I mean, again, I don't know how the trading worked and all these different technicalities. You really should be about the same. Selling Litecoin for BCH here and then not really doing anything since that point. And a lot of channels on YouTube, and I'm talking like a lot of them, how do they make their profits on here? Well, the old school and still current method is through advertisements, and that's one way I do, but we're talking double figures on my end, and a lot of people. I think there's a channel called Mr. Beast who gets like 20 million views I think he's an interesting fellow. A lot of it, I think he should spend time in video production and preparing for stuff because of his high content viewership. But throwing that aside, what do people do to get revenue? Ad revenue, or revenue that is. That one way is ad revenue. And then one of the two really common ways I have seen over the last 2, 3 years has been that of Patreon and merchandise, like shirts and whatever. I have pretty much completely stayed away from that. I've wrote a couple little things here and there for small bits, and not in a long time, and no plans to do so in a while as well. And Patreon, what do I got to say? Maybe I can commit myself to writing like an online book. Maybe that's what I should do, is just make a book, and that's the place to put it. In fact, if anything, that would make the most sense because I'm trying to think of, yeah, I might do that, but just different. A lot of people, of course, seem to be and I don't blame them using this methods for big profits. And uh, myself, I mean, what kind of merchandise would I sell? Am I going to sell shirts or boxes of chocolates? Not really. Am I going to sell some sort of amazing wallet? I ain't making one, so no. Now, the next one I want to go over is another vlogger. I really, really enjoy this person's channel. I'm not going to say it, but paid advertisement has been in the channel for that of Smart Cash, which was voted, I think, was Brazil's #1 cryptocurrency in 2018. And I say, really? And I'm going to bring up its chart against the dollar on the HIT BTC exchange. A coin that during the dartboard rally of end of 2017-18 managed to go up to $4. Well, within market conditions, you're hoping it would hold 20 cents, I guess, because that would have been about a 20x move, even a little bit lower than that, like 15 cents. But it shot down to that level before the April Fool's rally occurred. That was a serious, serious fall. And then a little bit of rallying, and down she's been going. This coin is almost a penny, and it was almost 4 before. So it's lost about 400 times its value. Now, when we see what's been going on in crypto space, yeah, everything's been going down. Okay. But what's been going on since and then basically at the end of the year, right around here, the market started to revert, and this isn't doing that. It had a sideways consolidation here at the end of, like right around in here. This is when the markets were bottoming in the early parts of December and then start of the year. And its rally that it's had has been from this low at about, at this stage, we got 8/4 of a penny, 0.084. Yeah. And then this high goes up to 1.5 cents. So it has not even a 2x move, starting to go lower right now. And somebody wanted to get out of this really aggressively, obviously, on May the 21st. And yeah, not much of a rally since that point. Whether this is a good coin or not, well, to me, one of two things is obvious within this. It is either an extremely way undervalued, really, really cheap vehicle instrument commodity, cryptocurrency, of course, and being literal, and thus extreme gains can come. Even if it's not, you could possibly be getting a failed breakout or a lower high rally that can come up to like 4 or 5 or 6 cents and then get some profits. Those things can happen, but the rest of the markets are doing much better. It's only available on, well, HIT BTC is the top place it's traded in. That's a sketchy exchange, as a lot of people have stated. And I know there's other ones available, but nothing. You're not going to find it on Binance, Bittrex, Poloniex, Bitfinex, Huobi, any of the more larger exchanges. And to me, I think that's what's important. Now, for myself, I got into this way back when, it was even before this period in here. And I think I was already selling out before this even happened. I don't think I really held this at this point on the way up. I'm like, oh my goodness, look at the gains I could have had, I was thinking, but look at the gains I was getting with what I owned. As I was able to buy this, I think at around under 2,000 Satoshi, and I wrote it higher. And in here we got like sometime before this. But what I did is I bought it on Cryptopia, now called either Craptopia or Scamtopia. I bought it there, and then I traded it. It went up. I sold, and then at some point I just got it on profit, of course. So at 1,500, and I remember selling this all the way up to even around 10,000, I think, Satoshi. And 10,000 Satoshi would be like just like right in here even. Because well, that's 1,500. 10,000 would be like up in here. But there was a move up to here before. And I can't remember what the high was. Maybe it was 8,000, 7,000. But either way, this market has went from, and this is what I find very, very weird. Look at all the decimals on here. This is 106.22 Satoshi. So they're actually trading in intervals that Bitcoin doesn't allow, which is greater than 8 decimals. So 106 Satoshi. I bought at 1,500 and it went up to like 30 plus thousand. So way to lose over 300 times your value. Again, either spectacular gains are going to arrive from this or it's going to go to nothing. And if you have orders in, there were situations where you could have bought here, pretty much sell immediately and put new orders in, which you could put in here, which you could buy back immediately, and now you'd be waiting for the next trade. Hello, and I'm going to say hello and welcome. I had this pause for like 2 minutes and then back to my video. Skycoin is next, and whether I want to call it a shitcoin or not, maybe. It's on Binance, and it's a trading vehicle. What I did was originally bought Skycoin and Go around on the same day. I originally traded it up against LITECOIN. I thought last night, you know what? Let's just have some fun, put these two together and just see what happens. I ended up selling a bunch of Sky last night for that of the Go coin. But regarding the technical analysis amongst where it stands from here, this level of key support had this breakdown below, had about 5, 6 days going lower, 1 day to get it all back. And when you have that move, especially when it's deep below the 18 lows and it goes deep above the 18 highs, that's a fantastic move for that to happen. Well, how are you going to hold? And well, this was that key level of twice hit support. That was the level where it met in within the 18 average. So holding and staying in this area. And 18 average of lows would have been where I'd want to see it hold, 167 handle. The low came in at 174. So all of these choppy, volatile days back and forth. And if you're looking for short-term trading, there's fantastic opportunities that can arise from this if that's what you're looking for. But as it goes, the session and yesterday and today has managed to just break above. And I want to put a trend line in here. I'm not a big fan of these, but just a trend line amongst the area of the 18 average of highs. Yeah, good enough. And then I'm going to take a look at this on the 4 hour and the 1. So getting above this key level in here and just holding on the moves so far. But within, of course, the situation of the game, where we stand on the long-term time frame. The market, of course, has been down. It's just getting up to the 18. If it has any type of decent play, I'd be looking for this next step after band flattening out. It did so here. It went down. It's redoing so again. And that is stage number 2, establish a level of resistance. And I'd be looking at like, well, I talk about the 3 little bears. What's too small? What's too big? Well, obviously, as much as I still love it, 1937 would be too big. And I would favor that as all the plays to begin with. But as far as just trying to read the chart bases, that would be too big. As would even 1,060. Again, I'll still take that as well. But then you get what would be a small move, like, oh, 304. I mean, it doesn't even match up with this. No, it's too small. And then you even got 375. Still a little small, but getting closer. 424, 460, those are just right areas. And as I go higher, it becomes further and further away from the highs. And at some point, it becomes that of a large move. But then again, as I was stating back in here, when you have a large move, you have to readjust the situation. If you have a move that goes like multiple, like well above this, if this would have went to say 380, I wouldn't have been talking about holding this. I would have been talking about holding like somewhere like the support level at 260 kind of deal. But as it stands, you have situation of 2 days resisting this point, a failed one here, and now it's looking to reattempt to do so, getting it above this level. Well, that's when we could start to fidget around some of these higher numbers. And in the replacement of not trading Sky against Litecoin and Go against Litecoin, I decided to buy Tron yesterday. I did a complete purchase. Uh, Not that big, basically maybe 140, 100% more than the value of my Go and 140% more of my value of my Sky. And I'll trade this against LTC. I got into this around the 360-ish or so handle in here. And it's down a lot. It's got this decent, well, it had two decent moves when we look at the daily. As it had this one in here available. And now it's pretty much giving it all back. You can say that's bearish, and it might be. And I'm just going through the things I heard in my head from before, and everyone's saying, "Oh, this is just a coin on steroids." Um, okay, that's if that's going to move like something would on steroids, that's something I'd want to swing trade it, I guess. This thing goes from 300 up to 861 back down. And in viewing this on the weekly term time frame, there isn't much early data, but so far it is showing a lot of support here at this 315. And, well, just it's a double top. And you're like, oh, that's a bearish signal. Yeah, it could be. If it does break below this level of support at 300, we could be looking at prices at 100, even below that. And then if this does any doji sort of thing, then maybe we come back and test these numbers again and then fall back again. And if it keeps doing that, that would be fantastic for me. And we see DGB getting its ass kicked from these highs as well at the lower end of its price level. This is a coin that basically refused to pay to get listed on Binance, which I did Litecoin pay to get listed on there? I'm curious. To me, this is almost like something you create and then you just let it live. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Meaning you create the cryptocurrency, you set the computer code so that it does its thing, which is why with the Bitcoin computer code and the very high withdrawal cost, this is why I'm like, and look at all these other coins like DGB, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, so on and so forth. And on its daily term time frame, it's still in this continuation. A little attempt over May 25th to get out above this level at the 195, unable to do so. It's still maintaining these higher lows. It had a little bit, a few days here at about the 150 area. It found some support yesterday at about 175. The 18 average of lows is currently at about 165. These are definite possible areas that can still be support to hold it in. But I'd still be on a breakout above, then it's going to do it. But I'm not here to try to predict when it's going to happen or if it's going to have a short-term pullback. I guess I'm definitely predicting on long term that it's going to be something that is at least going to be neutral to bullish moving forward. But that means that I don't care about the short-term frequencies in that of trying to figure out where and when. Rather, when the wheres and the whens happen, I'll do things like look at where my ratios stand. And right now, I'm looking for moves of around 25%. So I got what my last trade was, and I got what the current ratio is for all of these different crosses. If it's time for one of them to make a trade, then that's what will happen. I mean, this one here, I mean, you talk about what's not a, it's been a bummer so far as this is one of the biggest ones on steroids that is like doing nothing as far as its trades. But in time, I'm going to just see how this goes and just play the numbers out as I do so. But Litecoin, Vertcoin, last trade at 202. Now it's up to 233. So Litecoin is overperforming it. If this could get to like, I'd be looking at, well, 20% would be 40, 25% 250. So basically over 250, I would make a trade there. 18% for Neo and Flow. The last trade was 103 going up to 122. That means that of the Neo coin is going up in value. So if it go up in value, maybe 7% more over Flow. Over the next little while, I'll make a trade. We got a couple close in here. Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin and I haven't even made a trade yet. Ever since I opened it, I opened it with the market at 448. So now, or excuse me, yeah, 448. Now it's went down to 404, and that means that Litecoin is overperforming Bitcoin Cash at this point. And this one in here, Bitcoin Cash at DGB, 30,000 was the last trade. This means that DGB has gained value in it, so I would need about a 12% gain on DGB. And I was looking before to make a trade here, never really was close. This one here, the theta and such, this one got up to over 25%, so I ended up selling theta for Litecoin. And then this one was at like 23, 24, and then, well, theta went down and it's now back down to 5.16. So this is what I use, and let's move on to a few more charts. And let's go into BitTrack, see what some of the gainers and losers are among this site. And we're going to go to Bitcoin markets. I'm going to go to percentage change. Counterparty, which has basically been removed, is down 34.8%. Block Mason Credit Protocol, I'm just going to check to see if it's been removed or not. If it hasn't, then I'll take a look at it. It's all good and dandy. So let's take a look at BCPT on TradingView. And I put a line up here way back when. I don't know if it was for Fibonacci or buy low, sell high back then. And this market has been going through a little bit of a turmoil time here, but a lot of them have. And it's had a decent sized rally. Buy low, sell high. That means, oh, you sold up here up to the 1500 mark, and then it goes all the way down to 500. Buy, 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 buy. Yeah, no, you probably couldn't even sell this high. 750 to 843. Well, two things have to happen. One, you have to have volatility of like 10%, 12% or less, and you have to buy at the low. But the question should be, if you are buying low, selling high within this, it went down to 516. What was the lowest point you bought at? Maybe 555, maybe 600, maybe 643, whatever you have you. But the market went up to 1200. And therefore, it should be a matter of it should be how many buy orders you hit, so on and so forth. If you were trading, and I know nobody would be on here, or the chances are 1 in 500. One of the people watching this is doing what I'm doing, trading this against some other asset class like Neo or Litecoin or what have you. And this meant when you've seen all of these periods go from 689 to 1200 that the ratios would be meaning, oh, I'm selling this for whatever asset class, and it's been going down. Oh, buying it back and then getting your profit. And if you are selling via Bitcoin in here, you're selling here, oh, I'm going to put a buy order here. Well, in that case, of course, that would have been you would have made a profitable trade. However, you can be seeing markets go way down, doing your buy low, sell high, making a few swaps here and there. If the market's getting its ass kicked, then it's going to be difficult. So, if you would have been starting in here somewhere when it was 56, there's a good chance, even though you're up over the last several months, you're down. I mean, you've had a little bit of profit here and then the buybacks, and you would notice in here that you would be doing as good here as you would have been maybe back in here somewhere. And now in here, you would have been more profitable at this point than you would have been at this point going down, just because of all the trades in a sideways market. Because if you use buy low, sell high in a choppy market, which means you're selling above the 18 highs and buying below the 18 average of lows for the most part, and then it's going to work out, because the risk in doing all this is buying something that goes down 70, 80, 90ish percent, and thus you're making 20, 50, whatever percent gains on trade is not enough to justify such a large decline. Now, let's go back in here. We took a look at the biggest loser, which was Block Mason, of course, discounting counterparty for being removed. Monacoin, which I don't think is removed. I will know for sure. Because some of the ones that were removed will be top gainers because they're just down so much. Monaco's not removed, no. So amongst this week, okay, you got the choppy action again, buy low, sell high. You can sell up here, buy down in here, sell up here, buy on the grinding and weakness on the lows. And there's a spot where it was showing weakness on the 18 average of lows and it had a failed breakout. But if you're trading, that means the market goes from about in the 12 or so handle up to about 22. So a 75-80% gain and then able to get your buybacks. And we can see this week having a move back higher, just showing more of the support in here, neutrality as this band was going down. It's primarily now flat. Resistance has been established in this move. So if it breaks out above this, then we'd be looking at that of a bull market. But that's what you want to see and how it has those moves, because oftentimes in a really bad bear market, it's gonna all these moves will be failed moves, and you're just not even gonna have that situation occur where it has that clear break in the area of 26.3. And so, in such, if it's a bear market, it's not uncommon to give it back, maybe see weakness at the lows, just say see continuation sideways consolidation where eventually it go down. That could be the case. It might not. I'm not too sure. But as far as price is concerned, you're looking at this. You're like, oh my goodness, what a bearish setup that looks like, because we had this big fall. Oh, just so massive. But again, it meant everything you sold in here, you got a good portion of them back. Okay, so you got this portion back, and this is May the 13th. So on that day, you put your buy orders in, and maybe you fill some of them as the price goes from 11.7 to 15.1. And for what you filled, maybe a couple of them would get bought back in here. And if they did, okay, what sell orders did you fill in? And then what sell orders that were bought from in here were filled that were missed on this side. This high was 15.20 or the 152 handle. Maybe you had some at 160 or at 166. Well, those ones would now be hit as well. And this one didn't correct too well as you had this big move, and I talk about how you have to hold those areas. So the most obvious spot for this would have been somewhere around here, as that would have been the area of major resistance. I would have been stating from 14.8 handle down to about the 135 to 150. That would have been the range that I would have needed to wanted to see it hold. So after having this correctionary mode, which is perfectly normal, perfectly fine on both a bullish and a bearish situation, and even this is perfectly fine on a bullish and a bearish situation because it was a lower high rally, which, okay, well, in a big move, you're going to have a few of these consolidations. Very important to hold. Again, this is that big area, but the 18. So you have the retest of that level, and it just crashes from that point, overextending this range box of the 15 to this line. And so that's like, it's not so successful. But now we're getting another chance. And maybe it's better that it does so with one of those three little pigs, not too small, not too big, just right kind of deal. Because that was just a bit too big. Again, as a trader, that's what you want in the buy low, sell high. But as far as trying to just see this thing transition and move and reverse trends and do bull markets and normal and bear markets and normal types of things, and then it makes it easier if it has a decent, okay size move. So in this case, now it's coming back. This line I got in, I guess I'm just going to keep it in there. That's the must hold area in this general area. I guess I could degrade it or lower it down a bit, but not much. The must hold, I think, would be 132 into here. And then when looking at such on the shorter term time frame, this is just happening right now, basically. 1 hour time frame, and this is 4 minutes into the new hour. 15 minutes. Is this like 5 minutes? This is just happening. It happened at 9:56. It's 10:04, so it's been going on for 8 minutes. This thing is wild. We could be having a situation where we do have a big test where it hits this area even fast. But if you get a fast failed breakout here, you see weakness in towards this level. That is not cool. So just a little bit choppiness here overall. Somewhat at the lower end of this trading range or below the 18 lows. Definitely, if you've been, say for example, if you started trading this back when it was on its way down here at like 45,000 on the buy low, sell high, how are you not up? Because you buy, you sell, you buy, you sell, you buy, you sell, you buy, and you just have a small tiny one recently. All right, this is it for the video. 30 minutes. Yeah, not a surprise. But I like to keep them at that length. That's not too long, but definitely not short. I like a lot of good, valuable information is presented in here, especially for new people trying to learn. Being I've had a lot of those people. The way I look at it, the more and more you watch, the more and more you do little exercises that you can think of. That comes in, that's experience. And things will just gradually, one by one, five by five, will be picked up as you go through this information. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.